appreciate everybody on the chat tonight for your comments. Well, welcome back to the Bee Connection. I will say I apologize for being out a couple weeks here. I tell you what, life is awful busy here lately. Amber is in two sports right now. She's in track and volleyball, so that is eating my time up. And thank you, good Lord, that we're back down to one sport. So hopefully we can get back on a constant schedule here. So, it's still cold up here, JW. We are not still able to mess with our bees. Can't do any queen rearing. I will say that Keith Spillman has offered me to come to his bee yard down a little bit lower south to do some queen rearing, and that will absolutely speed my season up here in the mountains of North Carolina, because our maple still ain't bloomed completely out, and I really want to get into my bees. I hear everybody talking about it, but I just can't get into mine. So what about you, JW? How's things going your way?
Oh, I've been in bees every day, some good and some bad. I got some stories I'll interject here after a while. I had something new happen today that I haven't ever had before, and I'll try to explain it to where people can understand it. See if anybody's got any answers for. It's going to be in the form of a big long question, I think. So.
Oh, okay.
I had a visitor from the dirty side over in one of the Missouri boys today. Matt Ramsbottom came over, spent the day with me, and it rained all day. So. Yeah, in fact, they're just responding on the chat.
Yep.
Well, I'm doped up, Matt. I don't know if I'll make it or not. I'll hang in there as long as I can.
We may have to do some bee venom stuff on you to get your back straightened out there, JW.
If that'd do it, I'd be okay. I got stung yesterday evening. I got into the hive there just about dark, and I think I got 14 stings on the hands.
Oh gosh.
So.
Well.
I don't usually have too much of a trouble, but they was a little bit upset. All the foragers was coming home there about dark, and it's gonna mist and rain to boot, and they wasn't too happy with me.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good time to be in them.
Yeah.
I will say that I have continued to put on some a little bit of sugar just to kind of get these guys through some of this cold, because they are rearing some brood right now. They probably don't really need it, but definitely makes me feel a little bit better. But just can't get a good break of warm weather to actually get into them. So,
it's probably better off to stay out of them if the weather's not right.
Absolutely.
Tear them up. You got some. You got some brood in there.
Yep.
So I see Mr. Quimby's responding. He's been working a lot of overtime, I think, a lot of nights. So
yeah. We miss Lee not being with us on the chat, and he's a workaholic. I tell you, if they ever get this no overtime or no tax on overtime, we may never see Lee again. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, he'd be a multi.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, bless his heart. Good old boy. So I wish him the best. Just take her all.
Yep. It's good to see everybody in the chat tonight. And, again, Russ and Clay and Bruce and, all you guys that show up, DC, you guys show up with about every live stream that's out there. We do appreciate you being with us tonight. If you've got any questions tonight, we'll try to answer them, or maybe somebody in the chat can answer them also, because I will say I don't always have the answers. I just like to keep bees, and I like to talk about them, so that's what's fun.
Hey, Danae.
JW, what's the temperatures running in your area?
No, right now it's been in the 50s, 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
Uh, right now, I don't know. Usually it's 53 right now, Rick. Here,
53.
yeah. And we had some warm days, but today it wasn't. Uh, but it, like I said, it missed the rain all day, and it.
Yeah, I mean, I really, I mean, it's supposed to be. I can look right here real quick. I mean, we're still not getting very warm right now. Let's see.
Yeah, Todd,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know I lie.
we're hitting like middle 60s, but we're still jumping back down into freezing about every night. So, um, but there's a lot of rain going on right now, so um, just not really good up here to do
Yeah,
anything. And we ain't got no drones, so there's no queen rearing
I
I
don't
can
either.
do. So it
I
just
don't
makes it
either, Rick. I've been through the majority of, well, all of my hives actually. Uh, and Matt came out and I was gonna finish up, go through deep, through everything today, and
mm-hmm.
just didn't work out. He drove. He's about 3 hours from me, better part of 3 hours from me, and he drove out early this morning, and I think we were in two hives, and it started. The sun was shining when I said, I'm telling you, it's that dirty side of stuff from over on the other dirty side of the river. He drug it over here with me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like the sun was shining, and that's the God's truth. Though I seen him coming up the road to my place, and the clouds come in, and within about an hour, it was mist and rain, and it just gradually got worse all day. So,
Oh gosh.
but he got back across the river, so things maybe will clear up. It's supposed to be up about 70 tomorrow.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I kind of wonder what temperature is at Lee's down in South Carolina, down there where they are. I bet he's still high 80s. Wouldn't you say already?
oh yeah, he's down there in Coon country. He's probably in the 80s, during
Yeah.
the days on the nicer days. Him and Joey Rawls and world famous Mike Berry and
Yep.
Southern Russell.
Yeah.
All them boys down there in God's country, they just.
Yeah. See, there you go. It says 82 is what Lee's saying. Look at that. I tell you. It's good to have Dollhouse on here. I tell you what, we was in Missouri. They seemed to win everything out there when we was there. So good to have you guys with us tonight. Looks like Dennis is 66 right now in Texas. So
Yeah.
good to have Matt on here tonight.
I'll get Mike up there in 66. He won't be 66 until about the 4th of July.
Yeah. Yeah. DC, you've had 2 days of 70 degrees. That's crazy. That's not even fair out there in Washington. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I want to get off the mountain with Keith down there and enjoy beekeeping because I'm sure he's way ahead of me right now. Yeah, close to 80. That's not even fair.
Mm. We let have a heat stroke kind of with a Rick after coming down out of the hills.
Yeah.
Hey, Pastor Larry.
Yeah, Larry, good to have you with us tonight. And Mike, got everybody on the chat tonight. Definitely glad to have you. And again, I'm sorry that I haven't been on. Like I had already mentioned, that Amber's doing 2 sports, and finally she's back down to 1. So life can get back to normal for me. So I am so excited about that.
I had a couple real experiences. Look here.
Got Philip on.
He's flying in. He's got his earmuffs on. It must be cold down there in Texas.
Hey, Cole, where he's at?
63. We got rain moving in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Man, look at that. Look at all this mess I got out here. We've been building like crazy. I can't get it in there. picture there. My son's been painting for me, though. I sure appreciate it.
It looks good, Philip. It sure does.
That's an oops paint. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I got him building those market shelves.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a little stack of boxes that need to be painted.
Those are nice.
He probably have to turn you into the child abuse.
Yeah, I think so.
And poor kids, he's working like dirty dogs. I can tell that right now.
Probably too loud. He's 23, JW. It's time for him to go to work.
Oh, well, that's just barely getting started in life.
So, Philip, you trying to make all of your equipment now, or you just your boxes and stuff?
I finally broke down Ricky and bought some 100 frames from Maydan. But up until that, I pretty much built everything. I did buy some Acorn all plastic frames at Nobby. I bought 50 something of those. But for the most part, I've been building it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting ahead of me. Well, let me show you. I'm gonna mute this so it's not so low.
JW looks like he's into everything. I build a lot of my equipment, but man, he's all at it right now.
Well, you can see how it's working. You see where the work's who's doing the work.
Yeah, who's working, who's not, right?
Yep. That's almost illegal. That's child abuse. I'm telling you.
He's working on those stands right now. Is that right, JW? That's what it looks like.
Heck, he's going international. You haven't been. He's gonna mass produce that stuff.
Philip's gone international. I mean, I don't know about it. About 2 weeks and he's gone international. Come on.
For the next thing you know, he'll be marking those horizontal hives. He'll be in competition with you.
Those are too heavy for me.
They're definitely heavy.
If he can run out of he might. The problem with them, he can't find enough scrap wood to come up.
Oh.
But I love him horizontal.
You know me too well, JW. I'm always pilfering through the scrap pile. Sure.
It won't be long and Phil will be tearing his own house down for some extra wood to make stuff with.
Yeah.
Except for those market shelves, I'll pay the high dollar price at Home Depot for the best they have for those. Those are not cheap for the material. I think it's about somewhere between $40 and $50 a pop just for the materials on those.
Yeah.
I figured I could save like 30% if I didn't went through the stuff with knots in it, but I said, you know what, it's not worth it.
Hey, Tim and Anna, how y'all doing? He's been what do you call them? You call them half bees, do you, Tim? I seen your little short on the honeybees with no abdomens on them. Did you guys happen to see that? Tim posted that today. I think it was Gunline.
It almost looked like a half honeybee or something that he posted.
Yeah. Hey, Ricky, I'm gonna get back out there and get to work. I'll just put you on mute and y'all just watch his work while y'all talk.
Hey, I love watching the working, man. That sounds great to me, brother.
Right. I'll jump back on. I'm trying to make some double screen boards myself.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's what I'm working on. All right.
Thank you, brother. So, JW, tell us, you said you had something kind of exciting going on today. Just let us know what you had going on.
I've got a witness to this. Matt was out here today, and I told him we only went in 2 hives. I had a hive that I was suspected about being a little bit on the weak side. And I got out before we went into it. It's kind of drizzling rain. Mm-hmm. And it was a double deep with a medium, 8-frame double deep medium on top. I went into that hive, and I'd been in there February the 26th. I'd checked it like the 24th or 25th, and I treated it the 26th of February. Was the last time that I was, up close to that hive. I walked by that hive day before yesterday. It was a real nice day, and all the other bees was coming and going, like a madhouse in that particular hive. There were a few bees, but they weren't doing much. Well, we popped the lid on that hive. I actually got down and listened to it with my ear, the side of the box before we even popped it open. I said, Matt was standing there, and I said, Matt, that hive's dead out. And didn't hear a sound, and I popped the lid off of that. And in that top super, there was a few bees. Maybe a total of 3/4 of a frame. And I set that off. Matt did, I think. It don't make any difference. We set that off and seen there was some, which was surprising because I thought it was dead. And we opened up them 2 deep boxes below the super, took the super off, set it off. There was absolutely nothing in the middle box and nothing in the main brood box down on it. And you can ask, Matt can verify this, I'd never seen it before. Every frame in the bottom 2 supers was fully drawn out, the comb in them, and there wasn't a sign of life or anything in any bit of that comb. There wasn't nothing on the floor or the bottom board of the hive. It looked like it might have been, usually if a hive's been robbed out or something, there'd be some, crumbs from the comb, crumbs on the bottom. There wasn't nothing down in there.
Right.
And there was and we went through that hive, and the queen was still there with them. And I just took, and they had a little brood. She'd laid a little bit. There wasn't a big handful of bees total, but what amazed me in my experience of beekeeping, I'd never seen the bees in the box and the queen still there. And the 2 bottom boxes were totally void of anything in the comb. All with their 8 frames, would be 16 frames, was fully drawn out. In both boxes, 8 in each one of them, and not a sign of anything. Or, they was all totally empty. Has anyone got any idea as to what went on?
Yeah.
I've never seen it before, and this ain't my first rodeo, but I had never seen that situation before. So
I ain't never seen anything like that either, JW, to be honest with you. Maybe somebody in the chat has, and maybe they can kind of let us know what they think happened. That's really interesting.
Well, the queen was there. She's alive. And got a handful of brood. I just drawed them down to that single. Since they had brood in the frames, I would have broke them down and put them in a nuke, but I couldn't put a deep 5 frame, but I couldn't. They was on the medium frames.
Frames, yeah.
So I left them there and then put about a third of a pad of pollen, a third of a pad of hive alive fauna on them, see if we can draw them out. I don't know what happened to them. There was a full box of bees in there, I'm going to say, in the middle of February, for sure. I was in them there before, and I treated them the 26th, and I know there was plenty of bees in there then, so I don't know what happened. But you wouldn't think they would clean that. I mean, that hive was light when I tipped it. It was. Yeah. There wasn't. A 6-inch pattern of brood, and had a little comb, and Matt said there was a few eggs, in there. She'd laid a little bit, but they was surviving, but I don't know if they'll make it or not. We'll see. Pretty unusual. I'd never seen them cleaned up the drawn comb like that. And just nothing in it. Period. Nothing. No
that's
dead.
Really interesting.
No. New on me.
Now, was there a queen excluder in there, JW? You didn't have a queen excluder in there, right?
No queen excluder, no nothing. everything was in that little top super. You know, that little old colony was 5, and there might have been 2 tablespoons of fondant, you know, left in there that they hadn't cleaned up yet. They was all hanging around that fondant. And I put that pollen patty in there, and about a third of the pollen patty, about a third of the highlight pad, and they went after it just like it was, you know, they was starving out. But I don't know. They hadn't starved out yet. They still alive. The queen and the handful of brood, you know.
Well, maybe you get them kicked back up. It'd be very interesting to figure out what went on, you know.
Anyone's got any ideas, please respond, because I'd never seen it before in my time. So, never seen anything like that. It's been an unusual winter and year for everyone, I think, though, Rick.
Yeah,
a lot of people's lost a lot of hives. I thought that was going to be my 3rd dead out, but it turned out not to be a dead out. I've lost 2 hives.
Yeah.
2 out of 34.
Yeah.
So
could you still probably put them in a nuke gesture box or something like that, or a nuke box, and then if it was to draw out some on the bottom, then you could just.
I thought about doing that, but I just left them in that. I just left 7 frames. I drawed them in good and left the 8th frame completely out of it, so they don't have very much to, you know, to try to take care of. And I made jerk. It was nasty weather, and it was mist and rain. I just hate to mess with them and chill that brood. You know, I didn't jockey stuff around. I just decided to leave them in that. I've got a beehive. It's one medium box is the beehive.
Did it have any honey in it, JW? Was it completely out of resources?
An ounce, and there might have been a size of $50 of honey in that little, in where the bees was in that brood chamber, or in that medium box. I don't know what went on. Good Lord only knows. Someone smarter than me to have to figure that one out.
Well, maybe somebody, like I said in the chat, will speak up and kind of let us know what they think about it.
Immediate responses to any knowledge so far. But maybe I might not explain it where people understand, but it was an unusual situation in my world anyway.
And you said you got stung up pretty good. What was the other day? You said
getting stung on the hands. I don't wear gloves or anything. I hate them. Don't wear gloves, and don't too often even wear a bee jacket. I know I should. I'm not promoting it. I'm just telling you that's me. You know.
But you still wear like a little hood or something over your face, though, right?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
You a brave man, JW. I tell you.
Well, I told Matt was moving the frames around in that first hive he was in with a hive too. I said, let me have him. I just stuck my hands down there and was sorting them, but spacing them back together. He said, you don't use a hive tool? I said, them hive tools just something in the way. I don't just use my fingers. He said, no wonder you get stung on the hands. I said, yeah, I did.
How long was Matt out there with you, JW?
He was out here. He got here probably 8:30, and he stayed till he finally gave up about, I don't know, 2 o'clock, and he headed back for the dirty side. So we was going to go through. I had about 10 or 12 hives. I wanted to go through clear to the bottom, see where they was, and they're in my kind of my little production yard area. I hadn't been through them yet. I'd been through all the rest of them myself yesterday, and that's the reason I'm down my back, lifting around and moving and condensing. And I had some Epimay boxes that Tom wanted out there in St. Louis, and I was going to let him have them. So I transferred, hives out of transferred a couple big heavy hives out of those Apamate boxes and transferred into just conventional, Langstroth boxes.
So in total, how many colonies did you guys go through at your place?
Today,
Yeah.
2.
Oh,
It started raining that time he got here and got things going good. Time we got him set up and got his smoker started. We only went through 2 hives.
well.
That one and I had one other than that I had. It was a double deep 8-frame. I hadn't been through it, and we finished it up, and I went up to this one that I'm telling you about, and that was it. We just give it up on account of the rain. It just kept raining a little harder. It'd come and it about almost, you'd think it's going to quit, and it rained off and on all day here today.
So it looks, is your trees all bloomed out now, JW, or are you guys still?
2/3. I've got thousands of acres of Ned nettle and dead nettle and henbit. I mean, all these fields that they haven't, sprayed and killed it. The farmers. I'm in agriculture, got big, not huge fields, but 60, 70 acre, 100-acre fields, and they're all pink. Yeah. I did a little short. I posted a little short yesterday, day before, that showed some of it, and some of my early maples is completely. I mean, the bloom's gone off of them. We had some heavy rains and high winds last week, and the later ones are still in bloom. And we got the Bradford pear, but the bees don't work yet in my area. They just, it's there, but it's pretty and it looks like it'd be good. We got forsythia, if you know what that is, and your dandelions, of course. Actually, it's been cold enough here that the dandelions are just now starting. I keep track of all that from year to year when stuff blooms, in the trees. I've got red cedar blooming pretty good, and a lot of people don't realize, but my bees are working red cedar blooms, blossoms really? On them.
So they just get pollen off that red cedar? Is that what they're doing, JW, or what?
I think that's what. Yeah, they're getting pollen off of it. Matt can verify this. My hives is all packed with. Some of them almost pollen bound. That's. I had to give them that I was saying I had to break them down and add some more frames. I've got 2. I'm going to say there are 10 or 12 cubic foot, not great big ones, but freezers. I've got a hive or drawn comb and honey and frames that I've took off of hives. They were just loaded out, packed out. I fed all winter, but they didn't take my stronger hives didn't really work on their own honey resources that strongly this winter. So, but I've fed all my colonies since middle August. I started feeding sugar water. I don't feed heavy syrup in the fall and treat everything up. Most of my hives pretty stout. Tom's going to come out here and he's making a bunch of nukes, and he's going to come out here and take a lot of my frame. I'm going to have some frames out of my hives because I don't care about a big bunch of honey,
So is he going to help split the selling of those nukes? Is that what you guys are going to do?
He's going to come out next week from this Saturday. He's going to come out here for the day, him and Melissa, and I'm going to let him split everything he wants to split, and he can have it. So he's building up. I think he's going to try to sell about 100 nukes. I think he'd have.
Oh my goodness!
Get the numbers from him, but they're going in the nuke business. And I think Matt's got some orders for some. He's making some nukes for some folks.
So how's he going to do that? Is he going to drop some queens in those nukes, or is he?
He's getting some queens from Oh, Dennis and Melanie Cruz down there lined him up with some commercial guy down there that I think Tom's planning on getting some. Supposed to get him maybe next week. I think Matt got some crew. I think Matt had some queens come in today. I think they come from South Georgia someplace. I think into his provider. There's a commercial gal up there in St. Louis proper. She goes by Isabe's. I don't know where you met her. They was, when you was up over at the NBA deal there a couple months ago or not. So
I don't remember, but I may have talked to her. So
yeah. Matt's picking up 20 queens tomorrow. There's his post there on having the comments.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So around 50 nukes this spring, picking up 20 queens tomorrow. Wow. Okay.
I think he's
that's really an easy way to do some nukes. Just get you some queens and just split your bees, and that really helps your bees not swarm on you during the season either. So by just kind of knocking them down a little bit.
Shoot them. They go to act like you're going to swarm. I just take a shotgun out there and just shoot stop that swarm stuff. No, I'm joking, folks. I'm not that crazy. I'm crazy, but I'm not quite that crazy.
Better have a lot of pellets in that shot. Rodney says he's chasing swarms already. I tell you, it's so unfair up here in the mountains, because Rodney's about middle of North Carolina also, and man, he's already chasing swarms. Man,
I seen 4 or 5 posts on YouTube here this afternoon. This afternoon, after Matt went home, my old back was bothering me. I come down here and turned the YouTube on a little bit. Man, took some pain pills so I could maybe get through this evening. I'm pretty miserable, I tell you.
Yeah. Wow, Keith's got his swarm boxes out already. I am so far behind. This is not even fair. I tell you. And I meant to tell Matt, if you guys don't know, when I was up in Missouri, Matt gave me some sugar bricks, and man, those things have worked out so good for me. Man, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much for those sugar bricks. That has really helped my bees out. Putting those on those colonies, they sure do look a whole lot better. So appreciate it.
Yeah, they go after that. Matt makes a good pond. They go after that. Bees really like it.
Yeah, they really tear it up. That's for sure.
Yep. Go swarming on me. I'll shoot you out of the air.
Clay's got his swarm boxes out. He says he hasn't got his swarm boxes out yet. So who in the chat's got their swarm traps out, or who's going to catch swarms this year? I'd like to know. I enjoy that. It's like catching a big fish almost for me. So
I've got 14 swarm boxes. I don't plan on even touching them this year. I can tell you that from my standpoint. I've got more bees than I want.
Well, you cutting back with Tom and Melissa. That's a good idea. It really is.
Yeah, somebody might as well get some good out of them, because I don't. I've got some pretty stout hives, so I've got some 3 deeps. Of course, I run about all. I've only got 7 10-frame stuff left. I'm trying to get down to. I got rid of 20 hives here about a month ago. Sold the hives and boxes, stands, and everything to one party. So,
JW, why don't you email me those swarm boxes? I can put them to use.
I can do it.
All right.
I can do it. You could have them.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's got some out right now. I tell you.
Yeah. And a lot of them folks in the South has got, I think there's several swarms in the South now.
Yeah, Mike's getting snow right now. I think he's up. Is it right around Michigan? Is that right, Mike? You in Michigan? Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
Way up there, a good ways, though. I think he's way up northeast part of the Lower Peninsula. I think that's where he's at. I may be wrong, but I am, Mike. You have to correct me. I think that's what I seen you told folks.
I wonder if Castle Hobbs has got any swarm traps. He does.
I don't know. How you, Brian?
Larry's got 14 up right now, and still some to put out.
Mm.
Larry's going big. I tell you, he come up and got some boxes from Randy, Char Hill Beekeeper, and Vermont. That's right, Mike's in Vermont. But yeah, so they're looking to go big this year.
Wow. Man,
Yeah,
good. More power to you. You can have my share. I usually put out at least 10 traps every year, but I'm not going to anymore. I don't need the bees, and I'm not going to go to the effort.
Well, you can just sell them like you're doing right now to Tom and Melissa.
I don't care about selling bees. I'm just into it for enjoyment. I don't care. I sell a little honey, but I just started selling it in the last year or so. You know, my little farm markets, I've had a lot of response to that. I sold, right at 1,200 pounds off that one little old table out there at the farm. They just come and on honor system, I don't see one person out of 50 that that buys the honey.
Yeah. Well, Rodney's got a good point. By putting swarm traps up, you are preventing these swarms from going into people's houses and stuff. So, looks like some people may be paying him money to do that. That'd be pretty cool. That's different. So.
Well, good luck out here in my country. These houses are pretty well scattered out. You'd starve to death if you got $1,000 a removal out of houses out here, and they're lucky. They think they're doing you a favor if they let you have the bees.
Oh yeah.
Out here, they don't think they should have to pay you to do removals out here.
Yeah. I know Rodney does a bunch of removals, and he posts a lot of his videos and stuff up too. So, but he's always catching swarms, getting them out of trees, all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah, he gets a lot of them. And there's folks that do. Not more part to them.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against it. Like I said, I've got all the bees I want, and I don't.
They want it for free. Yep. Yeah, Dennis is right. So.
Yeah, most of them around here think they're doing you a favor if they call you up and let you have tear the half a brick veneer wall down, and put it back and get the bees out. I'm not interested in that type of thing.
Well, I mean, it's so much work, and people don't. I mean, it's almost like an all-day job. I mean, and you're working, and it's cool up here, But I'd hate to be in the South where, where Randy McCaffrey's at, and then those guys, and gosh, and burning up to get the bees, and then. I usually try to catch all the foragers too, so I'm coming back late that night to pick that box up. So it's an all-day project, really it is.
Yeah, some people really enjoy it. I used to enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it that much anymore to make it worth the effort.
But yeah, I'm a lot like Dennis though. I mean, when I first started beekeeping. That's how I getting all my bees. That's how I was kind of extending my colonies out, was putting up swarm traps and catching my own swarms. And you can really multiply your stock really quickly doing that.
Okay, Castle, you guys aren't allowed to talk about quail raising on Ricky's bee chat here now. I'm going to come on the stream team next week and talk coon hunting. I'm just kidding you, buddy.
That's pretty good. I tell you what, it seems like Brian's into everything. I've seen photos. He's been out of the States some too. So
he's down there on the Caribbean cruises.
Yeah, man, he's really getting some warm weather.
I think him and Russell's in the quail racing. Russell
Yeah.
Koopman. Northern Russell, I call Russell Koopman. Russell Amen, Southern Russell.
Oh,
I'm fixing to start. I had one. I set those Todd on the coon season is fixing to start this next week. I went out there. I'd set those. I broke those apame hives down, and I'd set them out to the side, and one of them coons dug underneath it. Trying to get what little honey and stuff. It was last night. I told Matt this morning. I said, "Uh-oh, coon season's fixing to. I'm fixing to go back on the warpath. So I'll be trapping again next week. I'm going to start." So coons they're getting thick again. I heard I've got a barn that's got double walls in it. In between the walls, I heard some. I feed some of my barn cats in there the other morning. I went in there and I could hear some baby coons talking, in one of the walls. So I'm going to have some babies hatch out. So I've got to start cleaning out my coon population again. So.
Well, I tell you, when Melissa and Tom come, just send some of them coons back up there with them.
I don't think that anybody wants my coons. I do haul them off. I should kill them, but I shouldn't say kill. I should shoot them, whatever. But I don't. I've got some property in the river bottoms up the road there, about 15 or 20 miles, and I take them up there and turn them out up on the river bottoms on my own property. So, and there's not a house within 5 miles there, So I took a bunch up there last fall when I was trapping, and I painted them all. I took that yellow marker paint, and I painted them. Everybody told me that you'd have to take them 20 miles. They'd come home, and I'm not being smart out here as a know-it-all, but I knew from past experiences they wouldn't travel that far. And I think I caught 27 or 37. I took them all up there and painted them yellow. And I got a friend that does coon hunt with dogs. He always asks me every year. He said, "What in God's name going up there?" He said, "Every coon my dog's tree up there is yellow."
That's so funny.
I painted them up and took them up there in the river bottoms. So.
That's funny.
I've got a lot of them, Dodd. I tell you what, we've got there's coons. I think coons are pretty plentiful any place you go anymore. Nobody traps them. There's the pelts aren't worth anything. You can't hardly give them anybody to pay anybody to even take the pelts. When I was younger, I used to trap them. Heck, I've got up to $50 a hide for coon hives.
Yeah, they coon hides used to sell really big, and a lot of the other stuff, but I don't even know many people that trap anymore. Do you, JW?
No, I don't. No one traps that I know of in my area, and there used to be everybody. There may be 2 or 3 people that muskrat trap. They're still. I think they're only worth $4 or $5 a piece, though. But they used to. You could get up to $25 for nice muskrat pelt. I don't think anybody's. The people that do trap may primarily for muskrats.
Yeah, Mike says he does. He knows people that trap. So, and Clay says he used to trap. So, he used to trap JW.
Yeah, I think he used to trap at me. I got.
So, is everybody in the chat? Are you guys ready for spring? Everybody got their stuff ready. We've seen Philip working on some stuff. I always feel like I'm slightly behind. I do have my equipment ready, but my bee yard's not quite where it needs to be at. So,
uh,
somebody said something about quail there again, JW.
yeah, they're gonna give me trouble with my. I'll shut up about my coons and my quail, and we'll talk bees from now on. Nobody's answered my question. What some of you guys that know a little bit about beekeeping, tell me what happened to that beehive I was trying to explain about. Did you hear
Go
what I
through
was
it.
saying, Bill?
What was that?
Did you hear what I was saying about that beehive, that unusual situation I had with that beehive
I
today?
think I was no, I think I was getting off the phone and getting on the computer, so I was didn't hear that
Explain
last
it
part.
again, JW, so everybody can hear.
Last thing I heard was a yellow something about a yellow coons.
No, that was from my trap, and I was talking about the beehive I was in today. Matt Ramsbottom was out here, and we went through some. Well, we was going to go through several hives, but we only ended up going through two because it rained all day. So.
Well, I went through my hives, my few here. I think I got 8 here at my house, and I went into a panic because 2 weeks ago they weren't doing that much, but now they were packed out with nectar and brood. Didn't have an empty cell that the queen could lay in. So I started grabbing boxes and checkerboarding in empty frames.
I did a bunch of that here in the last couple of days. I went through.
So,
right at 20.
All I wanted to do was check on my two of them that I wanted to use for breeders. And when I opened them up, and the bees were just all over the place. And then I started pulling the frames out, and they were all heavy, even the ones that had brood in them, because everywhere they wasn't brood, they'd filled up with something. So I texted my son. He was on a bike ride. I said, dude, I need you to get home. We got to do something. I got those and one more done before they got back. And then I got into one when he came up, and it wasn't any big deal. But then the next one I got in was a big deal. And then I had 2 more. I said, well, those were weak. Those only had 4 or 5 frames of bees. They probably not going. And I opened them up, and they only had about maybe 1 frame clear before they were going to be maxed out. So yeah, I'm worried about. I've got that's only 8 of 53 or 4 colonies, so I might be in a bind. I can't get to my other ones until Monday.
It always feels to me like, Philip, and you and JW can let me know. It seems like all suddenly that, you think you're good, and next thing you know, the bees have exploded, and you're like, oh no, I've got to get things going, and let's do this and let's do that.
Well, I was wanting to split like 15th of March, and back then there's no way there wasn't hardly any drone brood or nothing. But now it's not that I have a lot of walking drones, but there's a lot of cat drone brood in there, a whole lot. I did scrape some off. They're not that far along, but just something happened in the last week or two. And I did notice when I went out there, I smelled kind of a perfumey smell. Smelled almost like a ligustrum blossom or privet, that. But I went down to my neighbor's house, and his big ligustrum tree that usually smells like that, it wasn't even blooming yet. So I don't know what it was, but it's definitely a strong odor. It's been there for about 2 weeks. And like I said, I could probably throw honey suits on there and make honey, but they'd still swarm on me. If I don't give them some room and split them.
There's my man coming in there now. He's got you got a Chicago Bears t-shirt on there, old buddy?
Oh no, that's the lawnmower. That's what I've been doing all day.
Oh, okay. I need to be mowing my yard, or my wife's gonna kick me out of the house. I think it's getting in bad shape. Did you hear my comments? Joey's my mentor there. Did you hear my comments on that beehive earlier, Joey?
I caught the end of it, and I got interrupted. So
okay.
I don't know the whole
I have
story.
a hive. I've never in my time. I've never seen one that had a hive like this one was today. So
what happened? Or do I need to wait and watch the rerun?
Yeah. Well, I didn't video it. I just
Oh.
I got a witness to the hive.
Go ahead and explain again, JW, so everybody can kind of hear what happened to you.
I had a double deep hive, double deep with a super on it, and went into it today. I had treated that hive. The last time I was in that hive was the 25th of February. I was actually into it deep, and I had full box of bees, brood, you know, uh, the whole bit. And day before yesterday was a real nice day here, and all my bees were very active and all flying. But that hive I thought it was a little bit weak. Anyway, to finish it up, we went into it this morning, and the only bees in there was about a double handful of bees in that super on about two. Wouldn't have been probably 3/4 of a full frame of bees, and the queen was still there. The two bottom boxes and two deep bottom boxes, there wasn't absolutely nothing. They both of them was completely drawn out. The comb in them was completely drawn and completely empty. There wasn't a sign of nothing, and there wasn't a sign of nothing on the bottom board or anything where they, like when bees usually they get robbed out, there'd be some fragments of comb and stuff on the bottom board. The bottom board was almost clean, and just like, but the queen was still there. She's still there.
There was no bees, but the queen was there.
And maybe a handful of bees, and they was all right there in that top super, and that was it. And the bottom two boxes, there wasn't a bee in, or no sign of bees even having been there. Just like they was totally ever cell was totally empty.
That's weird. So did you say they had brood or not?
There might have been a 6 inches of brood right there where the queen was, and they was all clustered up there in one little old cluster in that top super. Maybe basically on one frame.
Well, I got the litter mate to that queen.
Okay.
Because I had a double deep come out of winter. And all of them was heavy all through winter. And when I got ready to do my splits, there's about 2 frames of bees and a queen. And only the frames they were on had honey in them.
Yeah.
And everything else in double deeps were empty.
Totally empty. Wasn't nothing in either box. Well, I'd never
they're
had that happen before. You ever have it?
They're in a loot box right now. So I don't know if I want to keep her or not.
I know I'm not keeping this one. But anyway, but I didn't want to do anything today. I just left.
Yeah.
I've got a hive that's one of my hives is a was one medium frame.
But
So would you suggest
but
that
it is kind of puzzling how somebody a colony can dwindle down so far and eat all that honey they had up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. It don't make
Sounds
sense.
like they got robbed out, but if there wasn't any torn, the cappings were torn.
Sign of robbery. Usually there's going to be some residue in the box. Especially down on it's solid bottom board. They wasn't screened bottom boards or nothing. If they'd have been robbed out, there'd been some residue on them bottom boards. So
that's strange.
I'm just wondering if they wasn't oversized and they eat it all up in a hurry, and then just started dwindling down after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but they was pretty heavy in January, I can tell you. And I know that there was several bees in there in February, and I actually ate them for February the 26th, which that's just now. What's the day? The 27th. So in the last 30 days, I know that I had pretty much, a full colony of bees in that thing. But they ain't a double handful in it now, and there wasn't nothing. Usually, even on a raw bout or something, there'll be a corner of a frame or something that they miss. They'll leave some, some brood residue or a little
Yeah.
honey or something someplace. But these, I'm telling you, and I've got a witness to this. We looked at there'd be 16 completely full deep frames. It's just all completely drawn out brood, nothing in any, or drawn out comb, nothing in it, any of it.
Now I have had colonies kind of get down low, three frames, a double
Mhm.
deep, maybe like 3 or 4 frames of bees, good solid bees, but they'd still have a lot of honey up in there with them.
Mhm.
I had never seen this quite like this. So
Yeah.
it's,
There's a little dab of honey.
I don't know, it's
Matt
just
can tell
something I
you,
never seen it like that.
I might have had a patch of honey the size of a dollar bill, maybe in on them two on them two frames that they were on, them two medium frames that they were on. So it was
So
just all clustered right there, and I was surprised to find the queen, but she was right there in the middle of them. But she didn't look too pert. she wasn't very aggressive. So, but she'd laid a few eggs. There's a few eggs in there. Never had it happen before, but I'm not the most experienced in the world, but I'd never had that
that's
happen.
new one on me. I had one of them this year that was kind of like that, but it wasn't that big. It was pretty small, but they were all, I thought it was just a dead out. There wasn't hardly any bees in there, but
Yeah, well, I thought it was too until I opened it up and there was some bees in that top super.
there wasn't any. There wasn't a queen or anything in the one that I did. But it was just one of a whole lot. So I wasn't. I figure they just starved out and then got robbed out. But I'm usually when they starve out there, there's some bees in there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So Ricky, I hadn't had a chance to get on here in a long time, or even really listen to your show. But
Mhm.
how are folks doing over there with trying to recover from the hurricane?
Well, they finally, it's gotten warm enough they can start paving some of the roads. So that's been very, very nice. We don't have to. I'm not having to take Amber down to a drop off to pick her up, which is about 30 minutes from the house to get to school. So that's gotten better. They do have some of these guys from I guess down like towards Joey's way with these big trucks that come with like big loggers, it looked like, and they kind of trim all the side of the roads off and pull all the trees that fell down, and they're taking those off right now. So I will say I've got enough firewood to last 3 years right now. Because I went out there and I wasn't gonna let them take all that firewood off and throw it in some dump. I went down the side of the road and loaded it up. So, but the rivers are still got a lot of trash in them. It's going to take us a while to get those rivers cleaned up. We have beautiful rivers up here where we're at. Good trout fishing, just gorgeous rivers. So that's going to take a little bit of work. So I'm really hoping after this year, things will kind of get back to normal. They did stock the rivers. Our hatchery did get damaged. So they're not really stocking a lot, but hopefully our trout population will jump back up. So people are recovering pretty good. The donations that were give were incredible. And I think we still may have some water at our community center that you can just go get that's, free bottled water. A little different for us than like some place that maybe down south, we have good fresh spring water up here. So water wasn't a huge issue for us. Asheville was because it tore their water systems up. So for the most part, we're doing pretty good.
So I know it after that happened, then we got into this whole thing about the bee collapse and all that. And I started thinking, because I want to do something I still want to do something to help beekeepers out. But then it seems like everybody's needing bees now, not just people that got hit by the hurricane. I don't know how that's affecting nuke prices and all that.
So we have started a small group of queen rearing, and we're going to get together April the 4th and start trying to do some grafting to get ready for spring for us. And one of our goals is to be able to give queens away to people that are in need. That if you got a good booming colony, you can take 2 frames, pop a queen in there, and that will
Yeah.
boost up the people's bees pretty quickly. By being able to do that. So that's kind of what we're working on here. The state has helped sponsor some, they are buying some nukes. Matthew from Hives for Heroes. I have a lady that's with that program. They're going to give her a free nuke. That's been very, very awesome. So uh, we're getting there. And like you say, it's people are willing to help out, but it makes me feel bad that everybody's struggling right now. Philip, you're right.
So, so is there somebody there that they're selling nukes, or
Nobody in our area is really selling nukes. And it was actually one of the big guys that's kind of on the mountain up here. Him and his son. His son just completely quit. He lost so much stuff. He's just disheartened. He just said, I'm not doing it no more. So, but we still have. We got Miller's Bee Supply. It's to the south of us. They've got bees coming in, nukes coming in, and Rossman. We got a little place again about an hour away from us. We can get some nukes up here and get them ordered. So
if you got some donations in, you could go get nukes for people.
Yeah, we could definitely go get some nukes for people if people wanted to do some donations or something like that. Sure, absolutely. So.
Let me and I would hope that we could just send to you. I don't know what kind of accounts you got, Zelle or whatever the other ones are.
Yeah, we do have. I think we got Zelle. I think we got PayPal. I don't know. I have to ask the wife. She's the one that takes care of that kind of stuff. I just like to build the beehives. To be honest.
All right. So here's what I want to propose to the people that are on the chat. That hadn't had a whole lot of losses like me.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to challenge everybody, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give $10 for every hive that made it for me, which is over 50. So that's 500 and whatever, probably 40. So I'm going to donate that to you, and I want to challenge anybody out there who's had good fortune to consider giving even if it's $5, $5 or $10 per hive you were fortunate enough to get through. Make a donation so Ricky can go out and buy bees and help those good folks out.
Well, I do appreciate that, and if you guys want to do that, let's just wait till next Thursday. If you want to give donations out, and I'll get the link. And you see, the wife is, mentioned the wife on there.
She's like AI. She's like artificial intelligence. You get the wrong term out there, and she pops up.
I got to be careful what I say on here. I never know when she's actually listening, so I can get in trouble.
She said there ain't nothing artificial about her.
You already got another pledge down there. Thank you, Keith. So I just want to throw that out to everybody. Let's not forget those folks that I know everybody's struggling. I know there's a lot of other people. If you want to help them out, that's fine. Those other people that lost their bees. But this is something that I've been thinking about ever since it happened, when I noticed all those hives get washed away, that I really wanted to help this spring when they got back on, started getting back on their feet. So that's what I just like to put out there for the community to consider that. I don't think that's, shouldn't be too much. Now, if you lost half your colonies, just that. I didn't. I only lost like 3 or 4. So
see, that's what's happened to some of these guys down here. I went and did a class a couple of Saturdays ago. It was all set up. It was a workshop set up for beginners. And the guy that was over it lost so many, and he's a commercial guy. He lost so many that he's not going to have queens or nukes for sale this year. And he's always selling nukes.
Yeah.
He said he's got to repopulate his stock before he can even think about selling again. So we have a lot of that this way too.
How many hives did you lose, Joey? What was your numbers where you was at?
I probably only lost 3 or 4 over the winter, so I'm in good shape.
Well, that's why JW had some. He had a good mentor, and he didn't lose a bunch of them. So that's
That's exactly right. Joey, he's the
I,
guy.
I got a couple like the one I mentioned that is going to get thrown away. They may be like a boomerang and come back.
I got well, I had one of them. I was talking to Noah. I said that one over there. That's one I raised myself. I had high hopes for them. I said, but that queen has done nothing. She's terrible. And I opened that up and I was like, wait a minute, there's more bees in here than last time, a lot more. And I pulled up like the second frame. There she was, and she's real skinny. She's long, but she's thin. And I started looking. She had laid up every cell that she could get to. And I'm like, man, she's just gonna prove me wrong. So I'm gonna leave her then. She's only, she was made last spring, so she ought to be in good shape. But
I am actually pulling honey frames out of boxes and setting them out and letting the bees re-rob them, kind of
really
equalizing.
Yeah, I did that too.
I got some with too much honey in their boxes, and I don't have any other hive that needs it because I'm trying to thin it out.
I kind of got the same problem too, Joey, but I couldn't make myself do it. I had one. I said, I'm gonna leave it because it had the frame was broke on top.
Yeah.
So I was like, and it was full of nectar. And I said, and some pollen too. And I was like, well, I need to leave this out because we need to, and I said, they got plenty. They don't need it. And then we set a second box on there and it's sitting over there beside the tree because we're on the flow. There ain't no bees even bothering it.
Yep.
And I was like, well, let's just throw it in this top box and it'll be I'll make it part of one of our splits when we do our splits. Because it's still held together, but it was, when you pulled it up, when it was stuck with propolis, it'd start to come apart. But once you got it unstuck, it was okay. But I need to get rid of it, but I can't make myself do what you do where I just leave them all out.
Well, see,
I'm too greedy.
I've said this over and over the last couple of lives I've been on. But the yards that's got anywhere from like 3 to 8 in them, I can work those colonies without robbing starting. But when I get in my main yard where there's 20 plus hives, nearly 30, maybe, I would say 20 double deeps, or no, I'm gonna go less than that, 15 double deeps. If I'm not careful, I got robbing going on real fast, so I have to get everything closed up. And I'll pull an old dark black frame out of there and I'll set it off by the tree line and let the bees get their attention over there where I can work a hive, But I started pulled about 5 frames the other day, pulled them out and set them back here on the back porch, letting bees rob it out.
And the other thing, I like to set out swarm traps, and I want to make some more. I hadn't done it yet, but I've got 3 more empty ones. But I don't have much old comb because everything lives, so there's not. And what didn't, I already distributed that comb to other colonies that could use it. So I'm not complaining, of course, but it's.
You must not be a bad enough beekeeper if you don't have extra brood comb in the freezer.
All right, well, the main thing is I just been expanding as much as possible.
Yeah.
Every chance I get. I hadn't been trying to. Once I start the whole pat, then I'll.
I'm trying to decrease. So there you go.
Yeah.
They're not extremely short.
How many colonies you got now, Joey?
It's somewhere in the upper 30s, but I've split nukes out of most anything that was double deep, with the exception of 2 or 3. I pulled nukes out of them.
That's a good question. Do you?
I don't know what I got right there.
Do you, when you're raising queens and making splits and nukes, do you really count them or not? I don't know if you should, because you can go.
I'm not counting them right now. That's 30 plus. Just what went up through winter. I'm not counting the nukes right now.
So,
because they're gonna be gone anyway, so I don't count them. If I counted them, I'd at least have 40, 45, 50.
Yeah. My plan was to take my queens and put them in a nuke and take them away and let them make a queen. But then I had to go and watch Mike Berry. And
Oh, Mike Berry.
he showed that cloak board. Which I don't have any cloak boards, but now I want to do what he did. I want to turn that hive around, push that queen down, turn her. I want to put a queen excluder on there and pull all the brood to the top, let them repopulate. And then I want to turn her around and put a double screen board and reorient have the bees that are coming back go into the top. And I want to take it a step further and put a divider in there and do 2 5-framers and let them make 2 new queens. And then I'll take one of them away with a nuke and then I'll recombine it. Hopefully I think I'd have just as strong a hive, wouldn't I, when it was all said and done?
Probably so. But you know, I didn't even comment on Mike Berry's last video. I usually just like it, you know, and I tell him personally when I see him that it was interesting or it was good or that was definitely not a how-to or whatever. But I have watched a lot of cloak board videos, and that was the most simplest described cloak board system I've ever seen. I even understood it, but I get so confused when I'm watching some of these videos out there, and I'm not putting down on nobody. I just thought it was me. But when Mike did it, everything just looked so simple.
Well, what I liked about that video was it reminded me of when Gus Mitchell was talking about the flyback split, which I did. I did the flyback split, and it was, to me, it was terrible for the queen cells because you leave the queen in place with 1 frame with brood, and then you put all foundation in there, and then they come back, all them foragers come back, and they go to work building comb, and you raise cells in the part you took away. But when I saw Mike's, I said, you know what? If you, this is like a flyback, but you don't lose any of your bees, you don't lose any of your nurse bees. You get that queen turned around, and she's got to start over, and all those bees fly back into, you know, essentially a new colony, but a queenless colony. To me, it made a lot of sense. And then if you want to, you can come back in, and I'm going to come back in and harvest cells out of the ones that have good genetics, but the ones that are mean, I'm probably just going to knock those cells down and put some cells
knock them down and use frames out of the other one. Or
yeah,
cells.
use that. Yeah, so I can use cells because I don't have much plastic foundation. Mine's mostly open, you know, natural foundation, so it's easy for me to cut cells out.
Ricky, do you see a present down there that looks like it might be from me?
Let me look here.
There's one.
Yeah,
I've got one in.
I've got one. Let's see.
I didn't put it up there and it's showing. I'm going to try to remove it. I don't know what that is.
It's showing on mine also. I'm not exactly sure.
I've got a box. I don't know what it is either. I was afraid to do anything with it. I didn't know what it was. That
must be a stream glitch or something.
They're doing some really new stuff on these streams, and I'm not good with it. And Lee's not here, so that makes it a little harder on me, to be honest with you, Joey.
Huh. I mean, it was like I had clicked the present button, but I didn't.
I
don't know.
It's the first time I've ever had it show up on my work screen on this.
Okay.
Too. I don't know what it is.
DC says a clone.
Joey clone. Oh, Lordy.
Might be.
God
help the other half of the world.
What's up, Mr. Lights?
How's it going?
What is that? You got that rabbit laying eggs out there, have you? Or
I'll be right back.
All right, Joey.
Trying to get ready for Easter. I was watching Dr. Phil, the Phil guy, the beekeeper, today, and he was using a double screen board in between a strong hive on the bottom and a weak hive on the top, and some newspaper to combine them. And I was asking him about, everybody says you got to keep the queens at least 3/4 of an inch away from each other so they don't kill each other. He says, I've never had a problem with it. I'm like, I've got to try that because now I can do it with less queen excluders, and I got some weak ones that are, like you said, is about 2 frames, and I thought maybe that might see if they do anything. And also, it allows me to feed from the top if they need it, and they can feed both colonies at once instead of having to opening them up. Because every time I have 2 queens, I can't really feed the colonies. I can't do any of that without
So
opening them.
you started saying double screen, but you meant queen excluder at the beginning of that.
Yeah, because the double screen board is what I made originally with plywood with a screen between the two, so they can share heat. But he actually has a queen excluder, and that's all it is. It's not like 2 queen excluders with a shim, or it's just 1 queen excluder. And some people are saying, well, you can sting through it and they can fight. And I was curious if you all ever experienced something like that. It was pretty interesting because it'd be less equipment.
Is my audio still cracking up? I'm sure it was when I had those headphones on, but
No, he's talking about
Frank
Frank's.
there's got some. You're getting a little bit of a crackle there, Frank. I don't know what it is. Whether it's
Maybe I got to kill the mic.
it sounds like you're transmitting from like Apollo 13 or something.
I can't stand that. I'm putting this thing out of my ears.
Got to wait till the sun moves.
Yeah. Some of that Starlink stuff, probably.
That's better.
Yeah, so if you just use 1 queen excluder, would that work? Do you have ever experience with that, or?
I never have.
I've never tried that, but it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, because it'd be less equipment. And then they'd be able to share resources, everything. Of course, they could abandon the queen too. So,
Would one colony attack the other queen? Maybe. I mean,
That's what I was thinking. To get access to the other queen. I noticed with my bees, they are pretty well behaved if there's a flow on, but if there's not a flow on, they'll take each other out.
because that pheromone would actually transfer from throughout the colony, right?
Right.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if it worked. I mean, there is cases where there's 2 queens in one colony, so
yeah, I thought that was wild when I saw that, because I've done 2 queens before, but I usually have like a deep box between the 2,
right.
and I'll have that all. But the problem I have with that method is every time you want to look at the bottom or do anything, it's like you got to take everything apart.
Yeah, it's different. I'm not sure, Frank, exactly. Be a good experiment to do and try out for yourself, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Because I got a couple that are pretty small, like you guys are saying. Are they going to do anything? Are they just sitting in weights because it's still in the 30s? We had ice on the ground this morning, and then it got up to the 50s during the daytime, but then it goes back cold. So I think the bees are just saying, you know what? It's not steady. I'm not doing anything. But the other thing, I thought, well, maybe these queens are just, fizzled out. They shrunk to that 2 frames for a reason, maybe. I don't know.
Right. So Matt.
Yeah, I did the Matt and Sandy's fun is what got the bees through. I would have lost them all together.
Yeah.
Because they were dwindling.
And then let's see. Eating stem pepper boost colonies by putting a weaker hive on the top of a stronger. Yep. Just a queen excluder and newspaper. Yep. That works out really well.
I noticed my 2 frame colonies, they're, a little ball. They're not taking the sugar water either. The other colonies are drinking it up. The ones that have like 5 or 8 frames of bees, these little 2, they're not even taking the sugar water out of the colony. So I put the sugar feeder right on top of the frames, thinking maybe they can't get high enough because they're too cold to get out of cluster. They still won't go do it. It's like they're giving up. But they'll take fondant.
Yeah, Tim says that they've had a few colonies with 2 queens with no excluder or box between them, and they do fine together. So that's kind of interesting. It's just always a different way of keeping bees, and I've always you got something set in your mind that this is the way it can be done, and there's always possibilities of doing it just a little bit different. So you got to play with it. So Phil, when you do, do you do combines, or do you use the double screen board
For
for keeping a couple colonies together? Sometimes you try that out?
we don't have enough cold weather to worry about.
Okay.
Yeah, what I use a double screen board is for if I find some queen cells, I'll pull those up above the double screen board. First thing I'll try to do is try to find the queen, and if she hadn't swarmed yet, then move her. But try to leave. And in my case, I use a double screen board that I can put a divider in.
Right.
So I'll put a cell on either side and then one in the bottom. So I got 3 chances to get a new queen back.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I might get 3 colonies out of it.
Yeah. That's what.
And if she doesn't, you just take. Yeah.
Just put them back together if you only get 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you like to do, ain't JW? You need some more bees, right?
You gotta do a lot of. I use almost totally double screens for splits. Is about all I use.
I did it last year and I got all 3 back.
Oh wow, that's really good.
So you had 2 double screen boards on 1 colony and 3 boxes?
No, it was 2. It's just 2 boxes. My double screen boards have a little piece on the bottom and 2 entrances on either, as far out as I can get them. And then I have a divider and slide in and out of that box. So I make basically 2 5-frame nuke. Instead of having just 1 chance to make a queen, now I got double the chances to make a queen.
There's a double box on the top and then a single box on the bottom.
Yes. Yes. I could figure out a way to make my double screens where I could have 4. I could let the bottom be divided and the top if you really wanted to take a swarming colony and just make more nukes out of it.
Do you use those ones that's kind of like swivel to close and open?
No, they're just always there. They're like a 1/4 to 3/8 high and about 1.5 inches wide. Just a little small hole drilled in the side. I'll go grab one. If you want, I'll go grab one and show it to you.
Yeah, let's see what you got there.
What the heck? A cat's trying to eat my lights. Hello, how you doing?
Mm.
Why are you eating my lights?
It may be a moth or something on it. She's out there playing with it. So
There's stainless steel wires to hold them up. So I used to use baler's twine, and it would last me half the year.
mm-hmm.
So now there's stainless steel wire like you use for welding, and she's scratching her face all over it.
Hmm.
The only problem with the stainless steel wire is it's very brittle. So you can only twist it 1 time, and if you back it up or anything, it snaps.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get far enough back from this thing.
Oh, that's pretty good, Philip. How many of those do you have?
I made 7 of these, but I'm making 15 more. Let me see if I can set the computer on the arm of this couch and get a little further back from you so you can see.
Now you using number 8 screen?
Yeah. So that ought to work. So let's see here. So it's really just, that's a 1/2 inch piece of old siding of some sort. I wasn't sure that was enough, so I added a little 3/8 inch piece of plywood where the screen is. Now on the bottom, try to disregard these two things. I was going to help a lady that had 8 frames with a problem. So this was like a conversion from an 8 frame
Yeah.
to 10. But anyway, but that's all it is. And it's got, the 2 entrances. And this would be reversed from the entrance of the hive. The hive would be on this side, on the back side, back here. So yeah, that's what I do. And I got all my deeps I make them where I can divide them down the middle.
Awesome.
So I basically just use that, and I get double my chances of getting that queen back in the top.
So when you do that, Philip, I mean, you have more than one cell per section to hatch out, or is that what you're kind of going for? Or do you put maybe 3 or 4 cells per section?
I probably, if I have them, I'll put 2. I usually don't put any more than that, especially on a swarm. I don't like to leave a whole bunch of them because they're just going to swarm anyway.
I got you.
And I don't know if the ones I pulled up would still try to swarm or not, but yeah, I try to just put. I like to have 2 just because you never know. Some of those cells may not be viable.
Right.
The new ones, I'm making some right now. I'm actually making 15 of them. It's going to be, it's a 5/8 inch piece instead of a 1/2 inch, so I won't have this little extra piece here. But I'm thinking about on those. I'm thinking about putting a second entrance on the side, right here, on both sides. That way, if I wanted to, if my hive's not jam up against another one, I can stuff some grass or something in this one, so it separates these 2 new entrances and comes in from a different angle. I think that would improve the queen, success of getting back into the right colony. Right now, I just have them painted a little different to give her a point of reference, but I think I'm going to add that. I'll add a hole on the sides too to give them another option of getting in there.
That's a really quick way to make some splits too. That's a really good idea.
Hey, what I'm thinking about doing is like Mike Berry, using this instead of a cloak board, and then that colony, when I pull all that brood up, put half of it on one side, and the foraging bees come back, they can pick either side they want to go to.
Yeah.
And help make that new queen. It's worth a shot. It'd be kind of fun to try out anyway.
Right.
But that's what I'm doing on that. Oh, I'm also thinking about, I had this idea because I was watching, what's his name? Ashby Farms.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was helping his buddy, and they were using double screens as moving screens, or they were moving brood between different apiaries, and they use double screen boards for that. So that made me think I've got some moving screens. They're nothing more than a frame that fits the box with a number 8 hardware cloth across the top. I said, well, shoot, I could just add some more screen to that and cut an entrance in it, and I'd have a moving screen and a double screen board all in one. Right. So I'm thinking about on my new ones, instead of having, let's get over here where you see, instead of having just these 2, have 4. Have one here, one here, one here, and one here. That way, that'd be enough ventilation that I take this thing and set it on top of my colony when I'm moving it, and that'll give the ventilation I need to move a hive. Because down here, you can kill them real easy if you don't give them, upper ventilation.
Right.
So, and those are pretty big holes.
Joey, do you use something like that?
I use the double screen, but I don't use it as a cloak.
Okay.
I just use it to divide 2 chambers. And
you used it on your last video. Yours has got all screen.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to use a double screen board. It's unreal.
So as soon as you add an entrance, it becomes a cloak?
Well,
a cloak, yeah. In essence, it's the bees, can't touch one another.
A cloak board is actually a board that's got queen excluders in it with a metal divider.
Right.
That you can, a removable metal divider in between, and it does the same thing the double screen does temporarily. But,
It's easier. You don't have to pull you can
right.
recombine without pulling the colony apart again.
Right.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to use.
Yeah, I like to have pieces of equipment that are universal. I like your idea of splitting every hive and make a double hive in any one of them because I can never find the one that I did that to. And I saw somebody put black lines right down through the center so they know that's the one that's got the divider. I thought maybe I should do that.
That's what I do on mine.
You must be the dude.
I paint them a different color where they kind of show out.
Yeah.
When you're driving through, you can tell. Wait a minute, there's a divider board in that one.
Well, I mean, mine hardly ever have the divider board in there. I just know I can put one in there if I need to.
Yeah.
Matt, I hope that Swiss Army knife is sharper than your box cutter blade.
So where's your other little buddy tonight?
He's in Colorado. He's politicking in Colorado. He's out there with John Mitchell, out there in the Colorado hills.
I wonder if John bought a market shelf from me. I wonder if he got it. I can probably go look it up and see if he did.
I have no idea, but that's where old Guy Rimouth is.
Tom will probably steal it if he sees it.
Yeah, he probably will. So is he out there with Brian too?
I don't know where Brian's probably privy to that deal. I don't know just what the deal was, where he was going by Brian's. They flew to Denver, and I suppose they had to rent a car or stuff, or I don't know, Brian. I don't know any of the details. I just know they went out there it's a 1 or 2 day little independent conference out there in, I don't know, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, or someplace out there. Mountains.
Well, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. It is 10:04, so I appreciate making. I know JW's got to nurse his back up. You know, maybe your mentor there show you how to pick them bee boxes up without hurting your back there, JW. So
what happened? Do you have to carry Matt?
Yeah, I had to carry Matt.
He about had to carry me today. I'm just, my old back is just, I overdone it the last couple of days. I wax dipped like 91 pieces of woodware.
You don't realize how much you wear yourself out until the next day.
Tuesday, and then I worked bees all day yesterday by myself, and I tore a bunch of boxes down and did a lot of transferring and did a lot of lifting. My old back just about overdone it.
You're not 18 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Reversed at 18. You got me. I'm still there, just in a different way.
Frank, appreciate you coming on, brother, and Philip, as always. We will definitely be back on next Thursday night. Don't forget about Joey's channel on Saturday. We got Tim and Hannah on Sundays, and also got Charlie. You know, so always something good on to listen to. If you're on the road, just, you might not be able to type anything in, but just listen, you might learn a little bit. So I know I do every time I listen, but, folks, we appreciate everybody in the chat. And as always, we'll see you next Thursday. God bless.
God bless. Everybody. See y'all.